I was gonna my expenses on the Pixel, but as usual, joke's on Paul.
So unusual to have a Pixel phone to have an issue.
Yeah, this is a new one. I assume I can just sit here and hold buttons and it will eventually turn off, but so far that hasn't been working. That's hilarious. I love this phone. Sorry. Oh, it turned off. Success. Oh, it rebooted. The joke's on me. What else is new? You off me. It's always a bad sign on the iPhone when you go to do like auto reply or auto password log.
I forgot to close that thing. Yeah.
And it doesn't come up with any site names. It just says passwords. Because then you know you're not going to find it. It just gives you a list of all the passwords it has. Is it one of these? No. If it was one of these, you would have found it. And my email or password isn't valid. Hilarious. I hate the world. What else is new?
Pretty much par for the course, you know? It's...
So, by the way, all week your voice has been garbled to me.
It's not on the...
Yeah, right, which is probably the most important thing. And I am, of course, using the, the Insider Preview, blah, 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 whatever. So it's on me, I'm sure. Okay, my password is not F. I'll just let the world know that the single lowercase f is not one of my passwords. So I don't know if that's secure or not telling people, but yeah, it's not. Okay. Got this.
That it is. It's still chilly.
Yeah. It was -1 today when I woke up, so actually quite a bit warmer than yesterday.
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm.
That's it.
Yeah.
I'm not filling out any more damn surveys either. I have filled out approximately 117 Sonos beta surveys. You know how many Sonos betas I've gotten on in the past year?
Then why are you filling them out?
Because they will send you hardware.
Oh, do they?
Yeah. Well, in some of them, for some of them. Yeah. Yeah, they're. I think I sent you some of the stuff. Like, they're working on like speaker stands, and I'll tell you everything they're doing because they didn't get me on a betas. So I didn't agree to anything. No, I mean they're working on stuff. Like they did the Google Assistant beta is currently ongoing, for example.
Yeah, ongoing, forever, perpetually.
Yeah, right. Also, the garage is apparently cold enough that my drink of choice has now got like a glacier floating in it, which is actually kind of cool. It's very chilly. So, for once in a while, you'll suck down like a huge chunk of ice.
Paul Thurrott taken out on a live stream by a chunk of ice.
Yep, it's the perfect crime. There's no evidence later.
Mm-hmm.
We don't know what did it. He's just dead.
You ready?
Sure.
Happy Friday, everybody, where it's cold. It's whatever. The sun rose another day, and a Pixel isn't working for Paul. It's all in a line.
Actually, did the Pixel come back? No, the Pixel did come back. We had a temporary... I told Brad earlier, it rebooted because the battery had died, and it sat there on the lock screen, which is white, by the way, and I'm sure is really good for the display. Like 10 minutes. And I was like, okay. It turns out you can't turn it off in that state. It took me a while, but yeah.
Well, we're happy, I think, that it's working for you. And well, if that Pixel did fail, you could get one of these, which is the Samsung Galaxy S10, leaked in all of its typical glory that always happens every single year where the whole phone leaks. The only thing I guess we don't explicitly know is the release date, but we could probably ballpark that too.
Did you notice that they're pulling what I call an Apple?
No.
Because both of those, if you just show your screen again so you can see the fronts, There is a circular. You don't have to get out of the way. You're fine. I just want the fronts. There's a circular hole in both of those displays, which you can't see because it's in that little part that's sort of black. See up in the top right corner, right? Just like Apple did with the notch, right, in the 10s and the 10s Max.
Yeah, they have a picture of like a planet.
Like, yeah,
half circle.
The whole background's black except for the planet, which neatly doesn't go anywhere near the notch.
Yeah, it's cute.
Yeah, those are good looking phones, though.
Yeah, I'm sure it'll be fine. Rumor has it that it might support up to a terabyte of storage for.
Yeah, I'm not sure what the point of that is, but yeah.
If you want to take everything you own on the road, it will soon be possible with this device. I'm sure that'll cost you probably I bet that's at least $1,500 for a terabyte in a phone.
I would think so, yeah. Or from Apple, $2,500. I mean, what's the 1250 or what is the 10s Max out? Is it 1250 or more? It might be
I think
more.
It's 1,500.
It could already be 1,500. So what do you get for that? It must be 512. It has to be.
I'm pretty sure it's 512. Hold on,
yeah, because it must be 64, 256, 512. It's got to be. Yeah, so Samsung will probably do that for 15, and then if Apple was going to do it, I bet it'd be closer to $2,000, which is just not.
It takes forever to actually get to where. Yeah, 512 for a very stout $1,449, or only $60.37 for 24 months, or $68 if you want Apple Care.
I don't see any reason to get Apple Care on a $1,500 phone. I'd throw caution to the wind.
Yeah, it's
sure.
I don't know if you saw this. Speaking of throwing caution to the wind, Panos tweeted out like it was kind of like a collaboration video of all of the NFL players chucking a Surface.
Here's what I briefly thought when I saw that video. Because it starts out with a couple of NFL players whacking the crap out of a Surface Pro on the sidelines of the NFL. And then it goes into some stuff where they're like, it was designed for this, and they show all the testing they do. It's entirely possible that those Surface Pros don't work anymore, right? Like one thing that's you would never know about is if Aaron Rodgers took that thing and hummed it at something and it broke. Yeah. You don't see that later. They usher it off into a cart and it's gone. I mean, honestly, the Surface, you know a lot about this, and you wrote a book about it. Yeah. I mean, the Surface contract with the NFL includes, I'm sure, replacements and, servicing and blah, blah, blah. I the padding around it will protect, just like a phone case, right? Will protect in certain instances, but, that thing lands a certain way or the screen bounces off someone's helmet or something. It's not going to make it.
I mean, there's only so many times Bill can chuck that thing at the ground and then at the cabinet itself, at the bleachers, at probably players who screw up. I'm sure there's some that have broken.
I actually think that Bill Belichick is the opposite of what Microsoft is looking for, because here's the problem. The game's winningest coach has been shown multiple times to express frustration with a device that he doesn't feel is offering him any particular advantage. That's not the message Surface is looking for, that's the thought.
Yeah, I'm sure they could have got, he's been fired now. I'm sure they could have got the Bengals' old coach to be like, yeah, this thing is great. And it's like, how many playoff games
I built my entire career around it. Yep.
Here we are in February talking about the Bengals and how great they are. It's all good.
Hope springs eternal, Brad. Next year, it's a new season.
We'll at least have a new coach who will probably be named the day after the Super Bowl ends, because it's going to be the Rams quarterback coach. Is going to be.
This is what I need. I'm going to voice this publicly. It's such a huge mistake. I need the Patriots to win in some kind of 40-point blowout, and then for Tom Brady to retire. There's two reasons for this. A, the Patriots have never had a blowout in the Super Bowl. It's always been like a nail-biting terribleness. I just need this once in my life. But then I need him to go away. Enough. And I just want to enjoy football and enjoy the Super Bowl and not be stressed over this. You know what I mean? Like go out on top. Just go. Just go. You're amazing. I'm sure you could play a few more years. Please don't.
Okay, I'm trying to find, and then we'll move on to something more relevant. But our favorite. Maybe he tweeted too much, because when they played, I guess it was 2 weeks ago. So I got to scroll way back in his feed to find it here.
Who are you looking for?
I will read it out loud.
Yeah. Is this football related?
Mm-hmm.
Okay. Then I won't mention something else.
So Paul and I, we have a mutual favorite comedian that we both loved. His name is Bill Burr.
Right.
He is also a massive New England Patriots fan. And so if you remember 2 weeks ago when they played, what was it, the Chiefs, it went into overtime, right?
Yep.
And it was a little stressful if you're probably a New England fan. And I have to censor some of it because this is, like, I guess, a family podcast. But this is in the voice of Bill Burr playing against the Chiefs. As they go into overtime, he says, "This F-bomb NFL. Score a go-ahead TD with 39 seconds left. 2 plays. The other team is on your 20-yarder, kicks a field goal, and now it's a time to head to overtime. Now I get to die another 1,000 deaths in overtime. I envy people that are only into comic books."
Yeah. It's a stupid thing to be stressed over.
Yeah.
And like I said, I'd like to, it's weird. Like this year, for example, like the Red Sox actually won the championship, the World Series this year. I had no expectations of anything like that, and I just sort of enjoyed baseball for what it was. But then as it gets into the, like, holy crap, like they could actually win this, and then oh my God, they're going to the World Series. Like it turns into something else, and it turns me into someone that I don't like,
Yeah.
And I didn't actually watch a lot of football this year, to be honest. In fact, I would say for the past 15 years or so, this is probably the least football I've watched. And I don't think that this Patriots team was particularly good, honestly. I mean, good within the context of Patriots teams. Like, obviously they were, in their division or in the league or whatever, they were the top 5 or 8 or whatever it is. But now it's like, oh, geez, like seriously, like I hate the stress that accompanies this. I hate it. It's stupid. I hate it because it's stupid. There are important things like your kids, your family, your friends, and, terrible things that can happen in the world. And this is what I'm stressed over. It's stupid.
That and hue lights.
Oh, yeah. So I do have an update on the hue lights. Scott Waters emailed me last night, and he said, by the way, if you go into the settings and you go find the settings for the hub, which is that Philips hardware device, you kind of connect everything to. There is somewhere in there, I'm not going to describe it, but there's a way you look at the settings for the hub, and at the bottom, it's like a clear all kind of a thing. And it basically clears all of your custom scenes, all of your whatever. But among the things that it clears out, and you don't really have any control over it, it's all or nothing, but it will clear out any schedules you may have set up, right? So as soon as I saw this email, I'm like, obviously I got to try this, because the alternative, the thing I've been slowly moving towards, is manually removing every light from Hue and then putting them back in one at a time. The thought of doing this is so horrific to me. Last night the lights did not change. As I told Scott, or I think it was somebody, or maybe whoever I was talking to about this. Maybe I wrote it in something this morning. It doesn't matter. One night does not a solution make, when it comes to Philips Hue, but we'll monitor that, and I'm, fingers crossed. I don't know.
Good. Yeah. Well, we'll see if your national nightmare comes to an end.
It has been like a month.
It has. I think it's been longer than that. It's been since
Christmas. I set this up for Christmas, so I probably would have left them on red and green through the end of the year. Maybe, I don't know. Maybe for New Year's I changed them or something. I don't remember exactly, but
yeah. But so I've been diving deep into that mixed reality headset that you sent.
Yeah.
Me. It's actually one of the cool things, and one of the reasons why I wanted it. There's a thing called Universe Sandbox, which is exactly like it sounds like. You can go fly around planets and whatnot.
Yeah.
I strapped it on my kid's head, fired that thing up, and she was freaking out. Like I can touch Mars. And that's what I wanted it for. But then, Dad's got to play. And so.
Yeah. So that game that you bought it for, Ace Combat, I think?
Well, it doesn't work with that. So I had to buy a different one.
Is it because it's not like a Windows Store game or something? Or
it just doesn't support VR on the PC, at least not yet. It does on the PlayStation, but not on the PC, which doesn't make any sense. So I found a couple other ones that work pretty well. It's the same issues as always, like the screen door effect. The problem with it is with a flight sim, which is what I want to use it with, and you can screw around to make it work, is that if it's not directly in your line of sight, you can't read like the controls. Because the whole point of a flight sim is you got to actually flip the switch and all that. It's a sim.
So do you actually have to look down at the controls and flip them? And then
but the problem is you can't read them unless you're like... And so we need higher resolution or just whatever. But it's still fun. It's still a great experience. I want to vomit sometimes using it. What I've done now is I found kind of like an arcadey type sim, and I mapped it to an Xbox controller, so you can just kind of play around with that, and it gets the fix of flying around in VR. But it's good. I mean, it's...
Yeah, I mean, is there anything else have you struck you as being useful on this thing?
No, my kid wants to use it, and she's like, "Daddy, buy me a PC that it'll work with." I'm like,
yeah, it's a lot of infrastructure to make a kid happy. I mean, it's just a lot of stuff.
Yep.
Yeah, I mean, I know there are a handful of people out there who are really into this.
It's neat. Like, the best way to describe it is that it's neat, but it's not essential in any capacity.
Yeah.
And so, I don't know. We'll keep playing around with the Universe Sandbox as long as my kid likes it. I'm not going to not let her play with that because it's a neat little educational tool. They're learning about space at school, and she knows the planets, and now she can, like, go see them and play with them. And
I gotta ask you a Skype support question. This is making me insane. In the Skype window that I'm looking at, which is split between you and I, obviously it looks like what people are seeing. Oh, it just went away. It must be because the mouse is over it. There are controls in the Skype window, right, for stopping the call and looking at the looking at the threads. And one of them is like it's a pulsing heart.
Oh,
it won't stop pulsing. No, it's for reactions, right?
Yeah.
So I can send you goofy little.
I can tell you how much you love me, or something.
Why doesn't it stop? Why is it moving? It's like a little.
Click the heart, Paul. Click it.
Thing down in the bottom. It's like.
Click it.
Oh fuck.
Did it not do anything? Because I didn't see anything.
Yeah, I brought up a bunch of stupid, I don't. Why? Why is that there? Why is it moving? Did these people not use does this not irritate the shit out of everybody?
Everything needs to be Facebook Messenger, Paul. That's why.
God, I hate it. This is what it's like to get old, Brad.
I know.
It's terrible. It's terrible. You hate everything. It's just so hard finding anything decent anymore. You watch movies that are like just a shit show, and then you go home and it won awards. Or like, like I don't understand it. People recommend TV shows, same thing. It's like, seriously, like this is how you spend your time. It's amazing.
So
sorry.
Yeah. I don't even know what else. I had something else to talk about, but then you just go.
I know. This is what my friend John calls the conversation stopper.
Yeah, because I had something on my mind, and I was like, it's whatever. I mean, there's the whole Google thing, iOS, Apple giving them the certificates back, which is, The other interesting thing, too, is Amazon's earning. Basically, their margins kill me. Like how little they actually make for...
You mean like profits versus revenues? It's insane. Yeah, I know.
Amazon brought in $232 billion in revenue in 2019, and of that, they put $10 billion in the bank, which is a lot of money, but not compared to how much work it took to make that money.
And I think it's because a huge chunk of their earnings is based on physical goods, right?
Oh, sure it is. It's by all the crap that I buy.
Yeah. It's expensive, to do that kind of thing. I mean, that's historically, like in the consumer electronic space or in the computers or whatnot, making hardware is a low margin business. Of course, Apple is the one big exception to that. And it's kind of one of the things about Apple that I find a little infuriating because their prices are artificially high. You could make an iPhone for $400 and then you sell it for $1,250, that's not typically the way things work. And so in the PC space, margins are razor thin. Microsoft mentioned this in their earnings this week, right? That they didn't really reference Surface that much, honestly, which is a little strange. But one of the few references mentions that it in the context of its other low margin businesses, right? It's expensive, to make hardware. In Amazon's case, it's just more general physical goods, I would say. Yeah. It would probably be worse if they didn't have these online services. Can you imagine?
It'd be much worse.
It's possible. Yeah, this might be propping up, making the company possible.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, I don't think they break it up, but I'd be curious to see how Twitch does for them.
Yeah, freaking dude. If you think Microsoft is non-transparent when it comes to earnings, the Amazon earnings, the press release is a fantasy land of nonsense. You should go look at it right now. It's amazing. They talk about no hard numbers at all. It's nonsense. Amazon Alexa delighted some number of people or some percentage more people this Christmas than it did last. It's like the biggest assortment of non-usable facts and non-facts. It's crazy. Like I went through this. They have a giant list of these milestones that they had in the quarter, and I was like looking for numbers. Here's a hard fact about something, and I'm like, nope, sort of. Nope. No. It's like there's nothing. I pulled out 5 things. It's all nonsense. There was no data to be had from these guys. It's amazing.
Yeah. The reason why I bring that up is they're rumored to be launching a game streaming service as well, which would make sense that they would just bundle that in with Twitch. And what would be nice to know is how big that market is. We know that Twitch is the largest game streaming platform, like the streaming, not the streaming games to people, but streaming yourself playing a game. And so I'd be curious to see. I would have to think that Steam would probably be their biggest target, right? Because that's primarily people get most of their games.
YouTube, maybe, but yeah, I mean,
no. I mean, like if they go to a game streaming,
actual game
like
streaming,
selling games to the end user.
Well, that's so. It's interesting. In recent months and days, we found out that everyone's making a game streaming service, right? We know Apple's doing it. We know Microsoft's doing it, of course. In fact, if you think about all of the major platform makers in the consumer electronics, computer space, whatever. The only one I don't believe has formally announced one is Samsung, and you have to think it's only a matter of time. I mean,
they're typically late. Remember they launched like Milk music streaming service or whatever.
Yeah, that was good stuff. We still all use that. It's really good, and I use it with the Ping social media service that Apple made. Anyway, but they did do that Fortnite deal last year with whoever makes Fortnite, Epic or whatever. And it was a very temporary thing, but it was kind of interesting. Like, I don't know that I've ever seen them kind of come out to the forefront like that on gaming, right? True gamers on mobile are going to want this device. It's the most powerful one, that kind of thing. I could see them doing a gaming service as well.
Oh, yeah, absolutely. I mean, it makes perfect sense for them.
Google's working on something. I would say, I had said in the past, Microsoft's the one company that does both, right? They kind of have the gaming angle and they have the online services angle. But actually, like you mentioned, they do own Twitch, Amazon, and yeah, that's a natural. And they would obviously be very strong competition for Microsoft or anyone else.
Yeah, I think it's the interesting thing about the next gen is it's not just going to be Microsoft and Sony. Nintendo's always there, but they're on their own island. It's going to be Microsoft, Sony, Amazon, maybe Google, maybe even Apple.
Google will be what Microsoft is to the enterprise, or not to the enterprise, maybe to the consumer electronics space, where they're kind of a back-end thing. But what Google has proposed is a kind of an open source back-end game streaming engine that anyone could use. So if you were a smaller publisher, actually, or like an Epic, maybe, like Epic likes doing their own thing, right? They could go to Google, or they'll go to Amazon too, whatever. But they're going to pick somebody. But Amazon or Google might be a choice for that, because it's not going to be like Google Games, right? It's going to be Google used by game makers. And so what you're going to see is the EA thing or the Epic thing or the whatever it might be. And it will be running on Google's infrastructure. And I actually think I think Microsoft has a play there as well, for whatever that's worth.
I think so too.
Yeah.
So I don't know. It'll be interesting. Microsoft, actually Frank Shaw tweeted it during their earnings. It said xCloud public trials will be happening this year. We already kind of knew that, but
it was in their post-earnings conference call as well. They mentioned that.
So it will. It'll be interesting. You got anything else for today, Mr. Powell? This weekend activities.
We're going to be in Philadelphia over the weekend, actually. But no, I mean, I just an update on the scanning stuff I've been doing. If anyone's interested in that, I've really kind of developed a really efficient system. And so yesterday afternoon, for example, I was originally supposed to do What the Tech before we had our weekly meeting, our internal weekly meeting, and Andrew canceled it. He had kind of a hardware problem. And I actually scanned an entire photo album's worth of photos in that hour, maybe an hour, 15 minutes before our meeting. Like I pretty much finished it right before we started. And, to give you an idea of what that looks like, because the trick is, like, I'm going album by album, taking all the pictures out. I stack them in a stack. It looks like this, right? So I have these, I have the labels that were on the albums. And so I have I actually last night took the time to, like go through 4 albums and like just kind of prep them. And so now, like this afternoon, I'm going to try to burn through a few of these. And you just kind of, you just check them through and does all the metadata stuff. It does a nice auto correction thing. It does proper cropping, virtually 100%. It's like I said, when I first went down this path, this has turned from unobtainable dream to like, I think I'm going to do this. Like, I think I'm actually going to finish it. So it's kind of cool watching it happen. It's also, I was telling my wife, like, there are these pictures that I distinctly remember, right? Obviously, like there are pictures that are just part of my memory now. Like I remember it because of the picture. And then there are these pictures, like I said, there were trips we went on and things we did. I'm like, I don't remember this. Like I'm looking at the pictures and I'm like, it's obviously us. There's a lot of photos.
I'm sure they're all taken at like a 45-degree angle, as you always do.
It's funny. It's funny you say that because as early as the late 1980s, there are a couple of examples of those. And it's just one of those things. Like I think it's not like I look at a scene and I'm like, oh, but every once in a while you look at something and you're like, actually, there's this thing in there that's like this, and you kind of want to get it in, and it's really not possible to frame it correctly, and you're like, it kind of look. Everyone has a style, Brad.
Do they?
Art is not something you can disagree with.
Says the guy who framed a picture of my pig on his fridge.
See, your pig is beloved by everyone in my family.
I'm sure. I'm sure it is. Well, I'm going to be dabbling in some more VR, I think, this afternoon. I think that's trying to figure that out, see what else I can do with it, and
yeah, I just never found anything super compelling. Like you kind of go through really the stuff, right? I mean, there's a couple of games. There you watch a movie, you're like, yep, okay, I'm watching a movie.
Well, I would never want to watch because it's not clear.
No, you do it for 10 seconds. Like you just, you're like, okay, there it is. Have you ever done any phone-based VR stuff? Right, like
yeah, it was actually on Windows Phone of all things.
Oh boy, really? Oh, that one thing they had for Windows Phone. Yeah. Oh, I'm not sure I ever tried that.
I think it's still around here somewhere where I can't remember what phone that was, but
right. I think it was
on T-Mobile.
An Alcatel or something,
or like Alcatel One, maybe.
I think so, something like that.
Yeah. So I have that. I could compare it against, I guess, but
it's too bad. I don't know if you could use like the Google thing. It's probably only for Google phones, which is stupid. But I think even like Google Cardboard, which I think works with any phone, it's super cheap. I mean, honestly, it's not terrible. Like it's some of the stuff is amazing. And I've done that thing where you walk down the street with Google Street View, go to Paris, just pick a location and just go down the street. And it's not, it's like early first person shooters where it goes by one screen at a time. It's not like, it's obviously not a smooth scrolling experience, but it's still pretty magical. I mean, just transporting yourself in a fairly immersive way to a different location. That's pretty neat.
Yeah. The problem is that it's still 4 degrees outside, although it's supposed to be warm this weekend.
Yeah, right. Well, yeah, it's going to be warm for us after the weekend. I think
yeah, Sunday it's supposed to be about 15 C, maybe 60 F, something around there.
We're going to be definitely getting the 50s here at some point. I don't remember which day, Monday or something.
Yeah, I don't know. I'm waiting. I'm hoping that maybe they'll announce it in Barcelona. I don't think so though. But the wireless mixed reality headsets are going to be where it's at. But
yeah, and actually, that should be doable, right?
It's doable. It's whether or not they're going to do it anytime soon.
Yeah, that would make a big difference.
Oh, yeah, it would make a big.
How did you? So Windows Mixed Reality, because you just set it up. There are 2 ways you can do it when you set it up. One is you say, I'm going to be sitting in this location, and that's the whole deal. The other one is you map out an area where you're like, this area is free to walk within. I'm not going to hit anything or kill myself, but it's kind of up to you, right? Like you could pretty easily walk into something if you were an idiot about it, right? So which way did you
So I initially set it up with the room, like mapped it all out because I was using it and doing all that. And then within about 3 seconds of it being on my daughter's head and she just took off walking, I was like, and so now it's
maybe we'll sit in a chair.
Yeah, now it's confined to the chair.
Yeah,
because she just started walking and she didn't care about the white lines. I mean, I had to like grab her before she.
Even then, though, in a chair, especially given the size of that thing, it must be on her head, right? And the weight it must feel for her. I found myself, I don't know if dizzy is the right term, but certainly disoriented, right?
Sure.
Where you kind of, I don't know if it's some combination of looking up and down and around, but it's like, like
yep.
It's very easy. Like you find yourself like, okay. Here I am in the room, or you turn around a bit and you kind of, I bumped into things and, it's, it blocks the real world. That's the problem.
Yeah. It takes you out of your angry little cubicle or whatever area confines for a moment until the whole thing crashes. Then you have to reset the simulation, but that's fine.
Yep.
All right, folks. So that wraps it up for today. We should be back next week, Monday, regular scheduled, all that good stuff. If you haven't hit subscribe yet, go ahead, do that. You'll be up to date on everything we're doing, and have yourselves a wonderful weekend, and we'll catch you right back here next time. Did you ever get logged back into Xbox? Oh, I meant to bring that up.
Yeah, I finished kind of early today. I do, short takes and Ask Paul, and then I'm like, usually it's pretty close to lunchtime, but it was like 11:30, and I was like, nice, I can play Xbox for 30 minutes. Nope. So much for that. But yes, it is working. I'm going to actually scan now and see if I can get some scanning done.
Well, you enjoy yourself.
You too.
Later.
Bye.